Hi crocheters! Welcome again to our virtual crochet space where we are working our way through the Checkerboard Textures Crochet Throw by Yarnspirations, and the link to that pattern will be in the description box below and also available here for free at the library if you'd like to stop in and request a copy. So if you're following along, we have some other videos that you can catch up with. We started, I think, several months ago now, and today is the textured square number 3 called Front Post Treble Crochet, and we have done 3 other squares. Even though this is number 3, they don't consider the first square in this pattern a number. It's the granny square, and we need to make 10 of those. There's a video we have here in our playlist for that as well. And then we have 10 other different patterned squares. So we're learning the 3rd one of those today. 1 and 2 have been recorded already, and you can find videos for those on our channel as well. So if you're all caught up, and even if you're not, you can start wherever you want. I have not made all of my granny squares, I'll admit to that. That's like a thing I'm working on as I feel like it. So if you haven't caught up to all your granny squares, feel free to jump in and try this one out. Maybe you'll decide you like this one and you want your whole blanket just to be this square. I don't know. You can do whatever you want. So most of all, we hope you have a good time with these videos, and send us pictures of anything that you guys are creating at home. I'd love to see what you guys are working on, and I hope you're, having a good time with us. As I said, we've got the 10 granny squares and then 10 other different pattern squares, and we do have some yarn available here at the library if you would like to use some for this project. It is donated yarn, so it is of all various colors and styles, so quantities of colors and things are limited, but if you're interested, come on in and grab some to start off with. And just keep in mind that whatever you use, you'll want your yarn weight to be the same for each square that you're using. Otherwise, everything won't line up at the end when we put it all together. So what you'll need a pattern either from us or from the link below, 2 hooks, 1 hook to do the granny square, whatever you're comfortable with, and then they suggest you size 1 down for all the rest of the squares. And this pattern recommends a size 4 yarn. That's what I've been using, but you can change that if you want to use bulky yarn and create a bigger blanket, or sport weight yarn and create a smaller blanket. Just be consistent. Whatever size yarn you decide to choose, make sure you stick with that so that everything lines up in the end. And today's general crochet knowledge will include things like the slip knot, single crochet, double crochet, chains, and the treble crochet, the star of our pattern today. We did a little bit with the back loops last time, and this time we're going to do some front post work, which is very fun. I think it's exciting. It looks a little bit like cables if you know anything from knitting. And let's get started. So here is the granny square that we were supposed to have 10 of, and I don't have 10, so if you don't have 10, that's fine. So that's this guy. We need 10 of him, and then today's square looks like this. And we can see that it's got all of these ridges, these raised portions here on the pattern. It's very cool, very textural, obviously. That's what the pattern's called. And very fun. We can see it follows this interesting pattern where we have sets of 2 treble crochets, and then 2 here, 1 here, and 2 here for the center bit, and then we have 3 of those lined up here at the edges. So I have one that I haven't started that we'll start together, and then I have one that's completed except for the border. So when my colors change, I didn't just like whip up another one. Just did that to be ahead of the game here. If we flip it over, we see that the back does not have those raised portions. It's very different. Something you want to keep in mind when you're doing any front post or back post work for that matter is that it doesn't end up the same on the other side. Just something to note, not a problem, but this is the front. So let's get started. Okay, if you're following along with me on your pattern, our first instruction is to, with a smaller hook, that means smaller than the one you used for the granny square, chain 36 loosely. Remember, we talked about in previous videos that doing this makes it so that when we need to do the border and we need to go back through those stitches we've already worked, we have a little extra room to do so. So quickly we'll go through a slip knot here. We are going to grab our yarn with our bottom 2 fingers, and then we have 2 together up here that we're going to wrap our yarn around. My tail is in front, And then we're going to wrap the yarn so it crosses and ends up behind. Bend our fingers inward, push that yarn, that working yarn, under that loop we've created, grab him, pull on that strand while we keep holding the tail, and now we're going to pull on the working yarn too to create a knot that is adjustable. And then we'll make it small enough that I can fit my hook in it and cinch it up to size, but not so tight that I can't slide my hook freely within that little loop there. And we're ready to go. So I will chain 36 loosely. Okay, I have 36 stitches on my row here, and you can count those stitches by starting over here at the needle side of things. And we can consider our sideways V's here. And this loop is attached to our hook, so we don't count that. But here's 1 V, 2 V's, 3 V's, 4 V's, and on down the line until you come up with 36 will be this last V here on the end. Now, we are ready to do row 1. So I'll move my post-it, my trusty post-it. I recommend them if you're new to pattern reading or like me, just get lost easily. So here we see the direction working in back loops only, 1 single crochet in second chain from hook and in each chain to the end of chain. And then we'll turn and end up with 35 single crochets. So I am going to find the second chain from the hook, which is not this guy, but this guy. So we're going to not yarn over, we're doing a single crochet, and we're going to go just in this back loop here, not this guy down here, this back loop right there, yarn over through that stitch, yarn over through the 2 loops on my hook. And we're going to do that again for the next chain, and we can see where we need to go by noting that this chain already has these arms coming out of it that shows that it's been worked. So we can skip on over to this guy, second in line here, and insert our hook into that stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, and then yarn over through 2. And we're going to do that until we get to the end of the row. Here I am at the end of the row. I have 1 more chain to work in right there. So I will go insert my hook, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through the 2 loops on my hook. And there we have it. This is a good time to count your stitches. You should have 35, so says the little note at the end of this part of the pattern. So if you slide your work forward, we can see all those sideways V's again, and you can count those starting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and make sure you have 35. Now for our second row, we're going to chain 3, yarn over through the loop, yarn over through again, and yarn over for the 3rd time, and then we can turn. The instructions do say to turn before you chain. This is just my habit, so you can do it either way you see fit. And then we are going to put 1 double crochet in each stitch to end of row. So for double crochets, I am not going to put a double crochet in this stitch right here because I have this chain 3, which is acting like a double crochet. So the first double crochet I make is going to be in this stitch right here. So in order to double crochet, we yarn over, and then if we flip our work forward, we can see this V right here, and that's where we're going to insert our hook. So we've yarned over, and then we're going to insert into not this stitch, but this stitch, and we can go through both of those loops of the V, and then yarn over back through the stitch, and we have 3 loops on our hook, and then yarn over through 2 at a time. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and we're going to keep doing that till we get to the end of the row. Yarn over through the next stitch, which is not this one, but this one. Go through both of those loops there, yarn over through the stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Keep going, yarn over through the next stitch in the line, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and on down the line till you get to the end. Here I am at my last stitch of the row right here, this sideways V that we can see if we tilt our work a little bit. So I'm going to yarn over and insert right there into that stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over through the last 2 loops on the hook. And there we have the end of our row. So it's a good point to count. We can see those sideways V's there, and make sure that you have 35 stitches still. For the third row, we're going to chain 1, yarn over through the loop on your hook. That's a chain. We're going to turn our work to go the other way. And it says to 1 single crochet in each stitch to end of row. So it's a nice, easy single crochet row. For single crochets, we don't yarn over. And for a single crochet row, I am going to go straight into this first stitch in the row. No yarn over. We're going to go right into that stitch. Now we'll yarn over and draw through just the stitch. Yarn over through the 2 loops on your hook. Once more, no yarn over, straight into the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2. And on you go, and I'll see you at the end of the row. Here I am at the last 2 stitches of the row. I have my double crochet, and then I have my chain 3 from my turning chain when we started that row. So I'm going to put a single crochet in the double crochet stitch, and I'll also put a single crochet in the top of my turning chain right there. So I have arrived at the end of my row, and once again we should have 35 stitches still. Row number 4. Here's where we're going to start to get into some of the post work, and we're going to work with our treble crochets. So you might want to brush up on those if you're not familiar, and let's dive in. So we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn our work so we're going the other way, and then we can, it says 1 double crochet in next single crochet. So as in our other double crochet row, I'm going to skip this one because it's got this chain attached that's acting like a double crochet. So I'm going to put my double crochet next door right there, yarn over through the stitch, yarn over through the stitch again, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So I've got my double crochet, and then it says 1 treble crochet, front post treble crochet around each of next 2 stitches 2 rows below. It's not as crazy as it sounds. So we're going to find the double crochet row that we worked a row ago, skipping the single crochet row. We're going to go down here. We can see that we have bigger gaps between our double crochets, and then we do our single crochets that are kind of dense. So we're working on this row here, and everything will play off of this first row. So you want to make sure that this row is accurate so that moving forward you can just kind of follow what you did the row before. You'll see, it'll work out nicely. So you're going to put 1 front post treble crochet around each of next 2 stitches 2 rows below. So we're not using the first 2 double crochets in that row. We're going to work with the 3rd and the 4th here, these 2. So for a treble, we're going to yarn over twice, 2 yarn overs. So I've got what looks like 3 kind of loops on my hook. And then I'm going to find that 3rd double crochet right here. And I'm going to go around the post. So that is the body of the double crochet. I'm not going to go into a stitch. I'm going to go in next door and around behind. So I take my hook and I go in this little gap between the post and up through the gap on the other side of the post, just like that. So you can see the body of the crochet stitch is on top of my hook. I'm not inserting my hook into any stitches, it's just floating there behind it. Then I'm going to yarn over and come back behind that stitch and out. And now I have 4 loops on my hook, and I'm going to yarn over and go through them 2 at a time. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And that gives me this raised portion and a nice tall stitch that can come stand next to the double crochets we've already made. I'm going to do that another time with the double crochet next door to the one we just used. So 2 yarn overs, which leaves what looks like 4 wraps on your hook. And then we're going to find that 4th double crochet down here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to go in next door and then out the other side, not inserting into the stitches themselves, just around the back. Yarn over back, under and out. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And now we have our 2 front post treble crochets sitting next to each other. You can see it's kind of raised up there. Now we're going to put 1 double crochet in each of next 2 double crochets, and we're going to do the thing that's in parentheses 3 times. So 2 new double crochets, and to figure out where these go, I usually flip my work forward and find the last stitch that I worked, and it wants me to, I'm going to skip the 2 where the treble crochets would be if we had made them in this row. So I'll skip this one, and this this stitch is where I'm going to put my double crochet. So I use my back of my work as a guide. So we'll skip 2 for each treble we made and put 1 double crochet here. Just like we're normally crocheting, we're working in that top row like we thought we would. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Remember, for a double crochet we just wrap once, and then we're going to do that again. So yarn over through the next stitch right next door in our normal top row, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So we have 2 front post trebles flanked by these 2 sets of 2 double crochets. Now we're going to do this process. It says 3 times, and in this case that means a total of 3 times. So we've already done it once. We're going to do it twice more. So we're going to yarn over twice, and I'm going to skip the next 2 double crochets below because those line up with the 2 we just made, and go in this 3rd one from the last post stitch, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go in next door, around the back and out the side, yarn over back through this, behind and out, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Once more, 2 yarn overs, insert in the side next to the stitch, the one right next door, pop out the other side, yarn over back, around and out, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. We can see our pattern emerging, 2 trebles separated by 2 doubles. And now we're going to make 2 double crochets in the 3rd and 4th stitches from our last double crochets. So we're going to look behind our work and see where the next 2 available stitches in that row would be, but those are covered up by our trebles, so we're going to skip those 2. Oops, sorry, that's all fuzzy. So we're going to skip those 2, and we're going to go into this 3rd one here. So we've yarned over, insert our hook, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and then we're going to do the same thing, normal double crochet in the stitches we are used to working in, yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. All right, that's 2 complete phases of that cycle in the parentheses. So now we're going to go and complete another one, our last one, 2 yarn overs. We're going to skip the 2 double crochets from the row below away from the post stitches. So skip this one, and we're going to go in next door, around behind and out the other side, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And then we're going to do that again. So we have yarn over twice, and right next door we're going to go next to that double crochet, around behind that double crochet, yarn over behind and out, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. All right, we're going to end with double crochets. So we flip over our work and see I'm going to skip the next 2 stitches in our normal row, skip this one and this one, and we're going to go into this one by yarning over once, insert our hook, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Once more, yarn over through the next stitch in our normal row, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So we have our 3 sets of these post stitches here, if we can see that, separated by our double crochet groupings. Now we get to the point in our pattern, like our example, where we have this section in the middle where we see 2 front post stitches, 1 front post stitch, and 2 more, separated all the while by some double crochets. So that's what we're going to do now. So just remember, you need 3 sets of these post stitches before we start this middle bit. And we're going to put 1 treble, I don't like the way they say this, I think I would say FPTR for front post treble crochet, but anyway, that's why I keep stumbling. We are going to put one front post treble around each of next 2 stitches, 2 rows below, so nothing crazy yet. Yarn over twice, like we've been doing. Find where these post stitches line up, skip the 2 next door, and do a front post around the next 2. So insert next door, around the back and out, yarn over behind and out, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Again, 2 yarn overs, find the stitch right next door, go in the side, around and out the back, yarn over back, under and around, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Okay, and now we're just going to put 1 double crochet in the next double crochet, but again we're going to skip the next 2 in line up there. So in our normal row we're going to skip those 2 stitches and go into that one. So we have the yarn over, and we're going to go through this guy, yarn over back through that stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and it's our middle section, so we just did the 1. Now we're all of a sudden ready again for another treble, so we're going to wrap twice, yarn over twice, skip just 1 because we only have 1 double crochet up here, and go into the next door of the next double crochet, around back and out the side, yarn over behind and out, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and then we're going to do 1 stitch, again 1 double crochet. So we flip it over, we only have to skip 1 on the back this time, and yarn over, skip this one, go into this one, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So far we have made these 2 treble crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 treble, 1 double crochet. That's our difference when we get to the center of the square. Now we're going to repeat the pattern that we used to do the beginning of our row. So we're getting ready for 2 treble crochets. So we're going to yarn over twice. We only have to skip 1 double crochet because we only had 1 up top. And we're going to go in next door to the stitch we're working with, around back and behind and out, yarn over behind and out. I need to remember to do something. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. 1 more treble crochet, yarn over twice. We're going to go next door to the stitch we're thinking about, around and behind, yarn over back through behind and out, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And then we're going to put 2 double crochets next door. So we look on the back of our work again, and we skip these 2, and we're going to go into that one, and we're going to put 1 double crochet and another double crochet, just like normal in the top, and we're going to do 2 yarn overs and do 2 more trebles. So we have 2 double crochets up top, so we skip 2 from the row below, and we treble around that stitch and yarn over twice and treble around the front post of the stitch next door. There we are, 2 more double crochets, skip 2 behind, put 2 up top, 2 more treble crochets, skip 2 below, put 2 below, and skip 2 up top, put 2 up top, 2 double crochets that is. How are we coming? Here we can see that we have our middle section here. I consider the 2, 1, and 2 trebles our middle section. And then we have 1, 2, we need our third, so we're doing good. 2 yarn overs, skip 2 from the row below, and front post around this guy, and front post around his neighbor. And I believe our last little section here is our last 2 double crochets. So we can flip over and we can see if we've done it right, and it looks like we have. If we skip these 2, we've got 2 left, and that's where our last 2 double crochets are going to go, in those last 2 stitches. And we've made it. We've completed our first kind of our foundation row for the rest of the front post double crochets. Because as we work forward, we're going to use these front post crochets that we've already created as our guide for where to put the rest of them So if you've worked really hard and figured this row out, the rest of them should be totally fine. Okay, so at this point you should have 35 stitches still. That should be constant as we move forward here. And we're ready to turn the page. And what is this? Row 5. Here's a nice easy row. So as you know, we're working with this complicated front post stitch. We get a break every other row, and we're going to chain 1 and turn, or turn and chain 1. You know, that's what the directions say. So if you want to do that, I understand. And we're going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch to the end of the row. So this is really easy. I'm not going to show it. I'll just see you at the end. Alright, I took one out to show you guys I am at the end of my row. So I have enough stitches here for 1 in this double crochet and also 1 in the top of my turning chain. And there we are. We have our single crochet. We're on the back now, so we don't see any of that nice textured front post work. We're about to turn it around. We're on row 6. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to turn our work. And here we are. We're going to put 1 double crochet in the next single crochet. So this is going to start to look a lot like the front post row we just did 2 rows ago. So double crochet, again, when we do double crochets, I'm going to skip this stitch that has the chain coming out of it. And I'm going to go onto the one next door, yarn over through that stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So we've got 2 double crochets on the end there. And then we're going to put 1 front post treble crochet around each of next 2 front post treble crochets from 2 rows below. Crochet patterns are fun. So we have a nice guide here. We don't have to count anymore because we can really readily see the front post double crochets that we made, or treble crochets that we made before. So we're going to use these and just copy what we did before. So we're going to yarn over twice, and now we can front post treble crochet around that first raised stitch from the row below. So it doesn't take as much thought to count and find your place. So I'm going to go behind the post of that treble crochet. I'm coming out the side here, not going into the stitches, just going through that empty space behind the body of the crochet stitch. Yarn over back, around, under, and out. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. We're going to do the same thing to our already raised stitch from the row below next door. Yarn over twice, in next door, around and under the back, out. Yarn over under and out, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. We have this raised stripe that we're just continuing on through the rows. And next door we're going to put 2 double crochets in our regular row. So yarn over, I flip over and I skip these 2. This is like what we did before, and go into the next 2 because these 2 are the spaces taken up by these trebles we just made. So skip these 2, go into that one. Yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And same thing with the normal stitch in the normal row next door, double crochet there. And we're well on our way. So we've made 1 of these raised posts, and we need 2 more to finish the cycle before we get to the middle. So yarn over twice, find your next set of raised stitches and do a front post treble crochet around that first one, and do a front post treble crochet around the second one. And then we're going to do 2 double crochets next door by skipping the next 2 stitches in the top row. So skip these 2 behind the trebles and go into that next one for a double crochet, and the next one again, double crochet. We have 2 sets now, ready for the third. 2 yarn overs, find the next raised stitch, do a front post treble crochet around that guy, and a front post treble crochet around his friend next door. Now we're going to put 2 double crochets next door on the row above. So skip the 2 that are right behind those treble crochet stitches and go into the next 2 for 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. And now we have our 3 raised stripes So we are ready to do our middle section. So for that section, we're going to get started off by doing 2 treble crochets, 2 front post treble crochets around the raised stitches below, and you can now kind of use that as your guide. So there's 1 front post treble, and here's the next front post treble. And now we see we only have 1 front post treble coming up here and 1 double crochet on either side, so we're going to mirror that. So we've done the 2 raised, so we're going to put 1 double crochet, skip the 2 behind the trebles, 1 double crochet here, 1 treble crochet here, front post treble, so we're going to go behind that, and 1 double crochet once again next door. Skip just 1 behind for the treble and put your double crochet in that next stitch. Now we're ready for 2 front post trebles again in the 2 front post trebles from rows 2 below. So I'll put 2 front post trebles there. And now we're ready to do our normal repeat where we do our 3 last 2 sets of treble raised stitches. So we turn them over. I'm going to skip the 2 stitches behind the trebles and go 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. There's my 2. I'm going to yarn over twice and do a front post treble in the next 2 front post trebles from the row below, and flip over, skip the 2 stitches behind the trebles and come out with 2 double crochets in the normal top row, 2 treble crochets, front post trebles in the 2 front post trebles from the row below, and 2 double crochets, skipping the 2 double crochets behind the trebles and putting them next in line there. Yarn over twice. Here's our last 2 front post trebles in the row below. 1 more. And here's where you can see if we came out right. We're going to skip the 2 behind, and yep, we only have 2 stitches left. So yarn over and put 1 double crochet in each of those 2 last stitches there. And here we are. So we can see our pattern kind of emerging. We have a series of these raised sets of stitches. We've got 1 in the middle to signal the middle, accompanied by 2 on either side. And then we've got 3 on each side of our middle section here, if that helps you think. That's how I kind of think about the pattern, so I don't have to keep reading it. So now we're going to do our favorite thing. Well, at least, it seems like a nice, fun break in our kind of challenging stitch work. We're going to chain 1, and we see that our instructions say the 7th, which is the row coming up, through 26 rows are going to be repeating this row of single crochets and then a row of the front post treble crochet stripe work. So start keeping track now. It's hard for me, maybe it's not hard for you, to count the rows like this when you start working in the posts and things. So I find it really necessary to keep track of my rows. I usually write like the numbers 7 through 26 in this case and slash 1 off after I complete it. That way I know where I am and I don't have to think about it later. But do whatever works for you, obviously. And yeah, so I'll quickly chain 1, turn and do a row of single crochets, and then we'll do 1 more row of the stripes together before I show you the border. I'm at my last 2 stitches of my single crochet row, so I have 1 to put in my double crochet and 1 to put in the top of my turning chain. There we go, the back of our work, the nice flat back of our work. So we're going to repeat that front post row that we've been working on. So we're going to chain 3 and turn. And I'm going to go through this kind of quickly, but feel free to rewind and watch the slower portions of the video if it doesn't quite make sense yet. I know if you have never done front posts, it's kind of a lot at first. So we start off, I'm just using the pattern I've created as my guide now. I don't have to read the pattern anymore. So I have one double crochet already, is functioning as this chain 3 over here. So I'm going to put one double crochet in the stitch next door, right there. And now I'm ready for 2 front post trebles in the front post trebles from the row below. So I'm going to find that stitch and do another front post treble. So we're just making those taller and taller all the time. And now I'm ready for 2 double crochets after skipping the 2 that are behind the trebles. 2 double crochets in our normal top row. 2 front post trebles in the row below. And 2 double crochets after the 2 in the top row behind the trebles. 2 more front post trebles from the row below. Remember to yarn over twice. I think these are kind of fun. Double crochets after skipping the 2 that are behind the trebles in the top row there. And we're at the middle section, so I'll start by doing 2 front post trebles in the row below like normal. And then we'll do 1 double crochet. I'm looking at my pattern as a guide. So I skip the 2 next stitches in the top row behind those trebles and do 1 double crochet here. And then I'm going to switch gears and do 1 treble, front post treble around the row below. And 1 more double crochet, this time skipping 1 stitch behind the treble. Then we're going to double crochet or yarn over twice and front post treble in the row below. And now we're back on our repeat. So skip the next 2 stitches in the top row behind the trebles and put 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. And front post treble around the next 2 front post trebles from the row below. And skip the next 2 stitches in the top row behind the trebles for 2 more double crochets next to each other up there. 2 more front post treble crochets. And skip next 2 stitches in the top row behind those trebles and do 2 double crochets and 2 more front post treble crochets from the row below. And if we've done it right, we should have 4 stitches left, 2 to skip behind the trebles and 2 left for our last 2 double crochets. And there you have it. Now you're on to the break of having a single crochet row next, and then you'll go back into that front post treble crochet row. And remember, as long as you're feeling comfortable with the treble crochets, you can use what you've done so far as a guide. And where you see a treble, put a treble. Where you see a double crochet, put a double crochet. And don't forget to keep checking on the back of your work so that you skip the stitches you're supposed to skip, so that everything lines up. As always, if you have questions or concerns, come on in, give me a call, see if I'm here, and I'd be happy to take a look at it for you. But we're not completely done yet. We still have a border to do. So you work on that and come back when you're ready for the border. All right, we've switched colors here. I have a green square now. You can see this one's done. It is a little bit hard to see this textural pattern on camera, but I think that's a pretty good shot of it. We see we have all those raised portions. I think those are fun. And now we are ready for our border. So I have ended, you should end having done a single crochet row. That's how, you should count and make sure you have your 27 rows. 27th row is listed as, it says to do the same thing as the 5th row, which is a row of single crochets. So after you do your 7 through 26, 27 is just a single crochet row. So here we are, and the border says to be on the right side, and I believe this is the right side. So I've ended, I just did this, I went single crochet, and I got here. So on the right side, yep, we're going to want to chain 1, and then flip it over so we're on the right side, and we're going to go back this way. Get my yarn strings out of the way here. So in our first stitch, which is going to be our corner, we're going to put 1 single crochet, a chain 3, and 1 single crochet, all in the same stitch here. So single crochet, no yarn over, Just insert the hook, yarn over, back through, yarn over through 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then put another single crochet back in that same stitch. So we have our loopy. This should be very familiar if you have made our other squares so far. Now, no big deal, we're going to single crochet in all of these stitches, I think until one before the end. So leave that last one open. Here I am, I've got one stitch left here that I could put a single crochet in, but I'm going to wait and read the directions. And they say to put one single crochet, chain 3, and one single crochet in that stitch so that we'll have a loopy like this on each side. So insert, yarn over, back through the stitch, yarn over through 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and return and put one single crochet in that same stitch we've been working on. Loopy number 2 to match loopy number 1. Moving forward, now we're going to do the thing that's not my favorite thing. I just don't love working in the sides of stitches, but I do really appreciate how nice a border makes the finished product look. So we're going to experiment together. You'll never see this if it doesn't work. So, okay, I'm going to get some stitch markers here that look like weird baby safety pins. And better than the giant jumbo safety pins I had last time. So the notes say, in order to space the 33 single crochets we'll need to get down this row evenly, she's got, or he, the pattern writer has designated which rows to skip when we do this so that we end up with 33. But I can't count these. I tried, I can't quite figure out how to tell you to do it. So I'm going to try something and we'll see if it works. Essentially, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Essentially, there are 6 rows that the pattern writer suggests you skip in order to create the 33 evenly spaced stitches. So I am just going to lay out 6 stitch markers in relatively evenly spaced, I can count, increments. And I'm going to choose those rows to be the ones that I skip. So I am just going to throw these in relatively evenly spaced, and then I'll come back. Okay, so here's what I've got. They're not perfect, but I think I'm okay with it, because otherwise I would just eyeball it anyway. So I feel like this is a step up from eyeballing and a step below actually figuring out what row I'm supposed to be in. So we have this here, and I'm going to grab my hook and start single crocheting. The instructions say to put one single crochet in the top and around each double crochet. So I'm going to see what I can do here. I have a double, I think this is a single crochet row, so I'll put one stitch here. So I have 1, and then I'll put 2 in the double crochet. So I'm going to go through the middle of that stitch, and number 3 will go around, and then number 4 is a single crochet row. So maybe I'll skip that one. That'll be this guy. How many have I got? 3? Okay. So I'm going to skip this guy, and I'm going to go in the double crochet for 4, around for 5, in the single crochet row for 6, in the double crochet for 7, and around the double crochet for 8. And then I will skip this single crochet and go in the double crochet 9, around the double crochet 10, in the single crochet 11, then maybe I'll skip going in the side of the double crochet, and I'll just go around for 12, in the single for 13, in the double 14, around the double 15, in the single 16, and we can see I'm like halfway there, so 33, we're doing okay. And then I will go in the double, did I already do that? No, in the double for 17, remove the stitch marker, so I won't go around, and I'll go in the single for 19, I will go in the double for 20, around for 21, in the single for 22, in the double 23, around the double 24, in the single 25, remove the marker. I won't go in the double, I'll just go around for 26, in the single 27, in the double 28, around the double 29, in the single 30, in the double 31, and then I will skip going around the double, and I'll go in the single for 32, and in the double for 33. Let's count. So when you count, make sure that you do not count the single crochet that's part of the corner loop. You made the chain you made the single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, so don't count this one and start counting here. Okay, I've got 32, which is good because I have this space around the double crochet to make 33. So if that works for you, great. It worked for me, I liked it. I'm gonna do it again on the other side. But if it doesn't, feel free to count and line up your stitches with rows 5, 9, 13, 17, 21, and 25, just like they said. Otherwise, I did find that it worked very similarly to the last square we made. So check out textured square number 2 in that border. If that one was easy for you, this is a very similar setup. Now we're ready for our next corner loopy. So in the next stitch here, we're gonna put 1 single crochet, a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and another single crochet in that same stitch we've been working in. We've got our third loopy. And this row is going to be kind of nice because we're just going to get to do single crochets in stitches that look a little bit more like stitches. And since we chained our 36 stitches at the beginning loosely, 36 chains loosely, it should be easy to go back in and put another stitch. So we can kind of see something that looks like weird lopsided V's. That's what we're going to be working with. So single crochet in each of those. No yarn over through the stitch, through 2, on down the line until you have 35. Alright, so technically we should have 33 that we just made, and then we have 34 is the one on this side of the loopy over here, and 35 is going to be the first one of the loopy over here. So at this corner, we're going to do a single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and a single crochet in that same space, fourth loopy, rotating, not flipping, and we're ready to do the same interesting situation we had on this other edge here. I'm going to place my 6 stitch markers like relatively evenly across the work. And then I'm going to work once in every single crochet row and twice in every double crochet row, unless there's a stitch marker there, when I will skip that stitch. And I'll see you when we're done. Go ahead and rewatch the other row of this video where we did this if you'd like to see it explained a little more closely. Almost forgot to show you, I've got 33 stitches here, not counting the single crochet from my loopy. So I am ready to join in the first single crochet of the first loopy we made. We have that single crochet, chain 3 single crochet. So we're going to do a slip stitch in the single crochet here. So we're not going to yarn over. We're going to insert into that stitch as normal, yarn over through the stitch and through the loop on your hook for the slip stitch. And that's it. You can cut your thread if we have scissors, and we can send this strand through this loop of a stitch here, pull it tight, and there we have it. We have 2 completed textured square number 3 front post treble crochet. all finished. They say this is intermediate, but I feel like this is like sort of advanced. So pat yourself on the back if you got this far. All right. So that is this stitch. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call here at the library, 815-246-9543, and I'd be happy to see if we can line up a time to chat and take a look at it for you. We have a whole bunch of other crochet videos here on YouTube, not just the squares associated with the first part of this pattern, but we have some other projects that we've been working on. We did Tunisian crochet, if that's something you're interested in, and a snowflake in the winter last year. So check those out, enjoy those, and subscribe so that you know when new videos are coming out. We also do other videos here at the library. We have some podcasts coming up that are really exciting and we hope everybody likes. One is a book club podcast. Go check out the promo for that. And the other is a fun off-the-clock library talk, get to know your librarians podcast that we hope you'll enjoy. So subscribe so you don't miss anything. You'll get notified for all of those videos. And like I said before, send pictures of what you're working on so that I can see you guys enjoying this at home. You can send them to our Facebook page in a message at facebook.com/Earlville Public Library. We'd love to see, or you could bring it in. I'd like to see it in person too. That'd be fun. And next month, I think next month, yeah, we will see you for textured square number 4. And guess what? Oh, this is big news, guys. I should have said this in the beginning. If you stuck, okay, let's play a game. If you have stuck around this far, I'm going to do that YouTube thing where I say, put a sheep emoji in the description box below, or just say sheep or something, so I know you made it this far. But crochet is coming back in person to the library. Starting in September, we'll resume our previous schedule of meeting on the second and last Wednesdays of every month. Here at the library, we'll have the big table open upstairs, and you guys can come and work on this project or, you know, whatever you like. I'll continue putting these videos out as long as I'm able, so that if you don't want to come in or can't come in, they will be available online, and we'll see how that goes and how you guys like that. But for the second meeting of every month here at the library, I will not be present. I'll be at the library, but I'll be working. And at the last meeting of every month, I will be present. That way we can perpetuate any lessons we're working on, any projects we're working on. I can answer questions and troubleshoot, and then the middle of the month meetings will be just for you guys to enjoy and socialize a little bit. So bring whatever you're working on, and hope to see you in September. So there will be a schedule here at the library displayed if you want to know exactly which Wednesdays we're talking about, and I hope to see you in real life very soon. Thank you once again. Remember, put that sheep in the description box. Send your comments down there. Oh, don't put it in the description box. Put it in the comments. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, hope to see you guys very soon, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you later. Bye.